We are now taking the fourth step towards immortality. It is not enough for us only to be immortal. We also want to use the gigantic possibilities of a creature living eternally. Imagine there is an individual, non-material, everlasting being. Let us call it, to give it a name, anima. Let us imagine it in default of a better picture like this. Anima has her home in the spiritual world. In the course of her eternal life, she again and again descends to the material plane. There she establishes, with the help of perishable physical bodies, various limited mortal existences. After their death, anima returns to her homeland. For example, 2000 years ago, she dressed herself in the garment of a Greek lady. Then she appeared on earth in the Middle Ages in the body of a knight. After the death of this shell, she returned to a break of rest and instruction to her eternal home. Centuries later, she appeared on the stage of material life as a lady in waiting at the court of the King of France. After the end of this role, she again went to the world beyond in order to digest what she experienced. 100 years ago, she incarnated as a craftsman. This existence too ended after a few years, and today she lives as a banker at the Wall Street. Who knows which roles she is to play in the future? Between these material incarnations, anima lives without a physical body in the world beyond, actually for a much longer time than on earth. This creature, anima, is your soul. This is you, your true, eternal, spiritual self. You think, I am Robert Miller. And you think, I am Mary Smith. This is a pardonable error caused by the illusion of matter. In truth, you are anima. Mr. Miller and Mrs. Smith are only transient personalities which your eternal individuality has temporarily formed. Anima will cast off these material covers as soon as they are no longer usable. Mr. Miller and Mrs. Smith will cease to exist in a few years' time. Anima, on the other hand, walks an eternal path through the most diverse material and non-material worlds, spheres, and planes of existence. This, your true self, anima, really exists. As a non-material spiritual being, it is not bound to the limitations of matter, time, and space. Therefore, it is immortal. Whether you believe in this or not, is without any influence on this hard fact. We are now coming to a crucial point. The spiritual being, to which we provisionally gave the name anima, exists, but it only vegetates like a plant or an animal as long as it is not conscious of its existence. In the case of higher beings than plants and animals, already with humans, especially with spiritual beings, living means more than merely existing. It means being conscious of oneself, as well as using consciously one's powers and abilities. So that anima, your higher ego, can live in this sense, she must become conscious not only of her mere existence, she must also know her essential nature. She must know who or what she is. For example, an eagle, not a chicken. Therefore, she must become conscious of herself as a non-material, spiritual, eternal being. As it stands today, when your soul is hardly aware of itself, let alone of its immortality, it cannot develop and is unable to use its higher spiritual powers. Let me explain this based on an example. There once was a rich man. He was hungry because he did not know that he had a treasure in his cellar. Objectively, he was rich. Nevertheless, he could not make use of his wealth, for he was not aware of the fact that he is rich. Likewise, as long as anima is not aware of her being immortal, her treasure remains in the cellar, and she cannot make use of the huge potential of an everlasting life. So, if you are not content with just being immortal, but want to use the treasure of immortality, you have to equip your eternal individuality with consciousness. Without consciousness, anima is not much more than a dead, empty shell. You must extract your consciousness from the body, from the currently incarnated, perishable personality, and move it into the soul. In order to gain immortality, the student of occult science has to learn the means of shifting gradually his sense of individuality from his corruptible material body to the incorruptible and eternal non-being represented by his seventh principle. Please consider this as the real aim of occult science. You must not allow your consciousness to get stuck in the tool, in the donkey. You have to move it into the rider. You must stop limiting yourselves with the consciousness of transient personalities such as Mr. Miller and Mrs. Smith. Instead, shape for yourself the consciousness of an everlasting being. An example. This is as if you leave the house in which you have lived for many years. Sit down behind the wheel of a car and drive away. All of a sudden, your life changes completely. You can now use the vast possibilities of the new vehicle which your spirit has entered. Enclosed in a house, you were unable to move around. Once you take possession of a car, you can tour the world. Enclosed in a perishable body, your existence is limited. As soon as your consciousness enters your immortal soul, your existence becomes unlimited. You can now begin to make use of the immeasurable possibilities of a non-material being. Another example, think of the movie Avatar. The consciousness of a human being leaves its physical body and is transferred to another vehicle, with the help of which a life in a foreign world becomes possible. If your consciousness remains in the body, it ends with the death of this vehicle. When you move your consciousness into the soul, it lives on with her. Only in this way can the promise of everlasting life, known to all religions, become a reality. As long as your consciousness remains in an earthly personality, you think that you are Mr. Miller or Mrs. Smith, a Greek woman, a knight, a lady at court, a craftsman, or a Wall Street banker. Then you form many separate, limited existences, all of which are mortal and without any relation to one another. Then you start every new life again and again at zero, always from scratch, with a new personality. If, on the other hand, you provide anima with consciousness, anima is anima on all levels, because she is always aware of being anima. She lives as anima in the world beyond. She descends consciously as anima down to earth. She consciously enters into a perishable body and lives in it as anima for a few years. After the death of the vehicle, she consciously returns to her homeland, continues to live there, later descends again, and so on forever. Above and below, during descent and ascent, she always remains anima. Immortality is nothing else than the preservation of one single, continual, uninterrupted consciousness throughout the whole eternal way. Immortality is that gift which allows the same great personality to step at will from one worn-out body into another. The achievement of true immortality means the maintaining of consciousness on all four planes of existence. Anima has only one single, continual, uninterrupted life, above and below, in all worlds, at all times, and in all circumstances. she always appears with one and the same identity. One may regard the chain of incarnations as a sequence of separate lives, but it is better to look upon the entire chain of incarnations as one life. Truly, there is but one life. Only when you succeed in this, anima becomes immortal. Then you continue your work and your development there where you left it at the previous stage of existence for a short break. Let us sum up. You take the fourth step towards immortality when you draw your consciousness out of the physical body and move it into your eternal individuality. I fill my soul with consciousness. For some of you, this might sound somewhat abstract. However, we do not want to make just words. We are walking a path together. Therefore, I would like to show you the fourth step towards immortality in practical terms as well. How exactly do you shift your consciousness to the soul? The following exercise will show. Occult research has shown that our spiritual being is a little bit bigger than the body. Therefore, imagine your soul as a kind of etheric shell that permeates the body and surrounds it from all sides, like an aura. This being you must fill with your consciousness, otherwise it will remain dead and empty. Guidance is always effected from above. So extract your consciousness from the body and move it into the tip of your spiritual cover that is situated above your head. Your ego consciousness is now sitting up there, no longer in the body. From there, from the standpoint of eternity, you look around and watch the world as well as yourself, your body. You face yourself, your body, like a stranger. By this practice, you actually begin to experience that your eternal individuality is a being distinct from your body. Remain the same in joy and sorrow, in sunshine and in rain. This is an advice of the old sages. You can best realize this ideal by shifting your consciousness to your immortal soul, because your spiritual self is not affected by the vicissitudes of material life, which your perishable personality is used to classify as good luck or bad luck.